It's great to see everyone. Just general housekeeping, great to see faces, but if everyone can stay on mute. If you can let us know in the chat box that you are with us tonight, so we don't have to worry about taking register, that would be great. Chat box is open throughout the webinar, so feel free to ask questions as we go. We'll make every attempt we can to answer them tonight. Need to reiterate that the information we have tonight is the only information we've got at the moment. It's as up to date as it can possibly be. So if there is anything we can't answer, we will go away and then come back to you after, once we've been able to get some more answers out of the ECB. Matt is leading this tonight, but we've also got Colette, who will be doing a short section on women and girls, or girls Dynamos and girls All Stars, and Steve Gass, who will be speaking about inclusivity within the programme. So I think we are probably ready to go. Just briefly, the agenda tonight, we're going to be covering All Stars, Dynamos, women and girls, inclusivity, Club Spark for booking, marketing, activator training, next steps, and our countdown cricket festivals. So I shall pass over to Matt now.
Thanks, Nick. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're all well. Had a good Christmas and New Year. And thank you for joining us this evening. As Nick said, we are going to tell you everything we know about national programmes as it stands. There may be a little bit more information to come out in the next couple of weeks, but hopefully the information we give you tonight will enable you to start all the process of getting your programme set up for the coming summer, for all those existing clubs. And it's great that we've got a number of new clubs on the webinar tonight. So some of the information that we will go through will be a bit more generic. So for some of you may have seen some of this information before, but it'd be a good refresh about all of national programmes. The first element we're going to talk about tonight is All Stars. Again, another brilliant summer across Somerset after obviously the COVID year of 2020 where no activity took place. And I'm just going to show everyone a very quick video to show you what All Stars is all about and what it looks like in Clubland. So All Stars cricket. So for a number of you, you've done this for a number of years, but as I said, we've got a number of new clubs looking to hopefully join the programme this year. So All Stars, we're now into year 5 of the programme, nationwide programme led by the ECB, aimed at 5 to 8 year olds. Real big focus on trying to get new children into the game, but also trying to get new volunteers into the game as well. It provides everything you need to try and give children a fantastic first experience of cricket, as it says on the screen. And obviously for a number of you, you know how amazing this programme can be and the impact it can have within your club. So for every child who signs up to All Stars, they get a kit pack. So both for new All Stars and returning All Stars. You get a backpack, a personalised T-shirt. What we know this year, we've been told that there's no changes to the kit product at all. Returners, they get additional sets of stuff. They get sets of stumps, and that all gets delivered to your door or to the child's door. So very little change on that, but it's obviously a very big selling point to parents. That their child gets all of that kit, so it ultimately allows those children not only to have a great time at your cricket club, but they can go and practice their cricket at home with mum, dads, grandparents, etc. away from the game. So very little is changed on the kit offering. obviously COVID has hampered this in recent years, but the ECB are still going to be running the Money Can't Buy experiences. And it's been great that over the years that a number of children in Somerset have been able to take up these various different opportunities. So tickets to England matches. As you can see the picture, we had the Women's Ashes test back in 2019, and we had lots of All-Stars children be guard of honour at those games. So that all will be happening again this year. We've also held children's press conferences, which is all dealt with centrally from the ECB. As part of being a child who does national programs, they get weekly emails during the 8-week program from England players and international cricketers from both the male and female game. So there's trying to get links to inspire people to take up the game. So that is a good added benefit. As a club, you get all the kit you need to run All Stars and Dynamos. If you're a brand new club, you get a starter kit, which is a kit bag with all the equipment needed to run the games, banners, flags, to put up to give it a real nice welcoming feel. Any club, so last year, so any club who were an existing All Stars club, for every child that signed up, there was a £5 kickback to spend in the All Stars shop. That will again be happening this year, so you'll be able to top up on any equipment you need in the shop. There will be more updated items in the shop, and the shop will go live in March. More details will come up with that later down the line, but that is what I've been told. There's going to be additional items going in there, and it'll be live again in March. The price point, so that changed last year. So the recommended retail price for All Stars is £40. £30 of that goes to the ECB for all the kit and equipment that the children get, and it is £10 back to each cricket club. Clubs can charge more, and some do, but if you do charge more than the £40, there are additional fees deducted based on the payment structure of Stripe, which is set up. So some clubs have charged higher, but the majority will charge the same, but the price is staying the same again this year. But I think for me, and there's a lot of people on this call will be able to vouch with how good the program is. But for those clubs who are coming on to maybe consider this for the first time, actually here are a load of quotes we have had from clubs in the last 5 years about the impact that All Stars has had for them. So have a read of them. I'm not going to read them out, but it has had a real impact on the club game. Nick, I don't know if there are any questions come in the chat box about the basic premises of All Stars before I start talking about Dynamos.
Yes, Pete Ross has asked if we know what the fee structure is if clubs charge more than £40.
I will find out and email you, Pete. It's a slightly, I think it's something like 2 point something percent. It's a percentage of the additional fee, because the way the ECB have set it up is they will cover all the fees directly for anything which is set at £40. If anything goes above it, there is a slight charge on that to cover the transaction fee. I think it's 2.5%, but I wouldn't want to be quoted, so I will confirm that directly to everyone on the call when you directly Pete. Is there any other any more, Nick?
No other questions yet.
Excellent. So I will now quickly go through Dynamos, and then a bit later I will go through what the additions are across each program for this year. So Dynamos Cricket was meant to launch in 2020, but obviously, like a lot of things, the pandemic forced it to be shut down and it didn't run. So it was launched last year with a number of clubs taking it on for the first time. I'm now going to show you just a very quick video about what it is, and then I'll just run through very similarly like I did for the All-Stars.
He's got it! England have won the World Cup by the barest of margins!
Dynamos Cricket, it's countdown cricket, a brand new way for us to play this summer. To bowl, bat and field, to be confident and take our chances.
Making new friends, challenging ourselves, and always having fun. This is our game. Dynamos Cricket is our game.
So Dynamos Cricket, it's a game-based program and it's aimed at 8 to 11-year-olds. So people coming out of All-Stars Cricket and for new people aimed at that game. I think the biggest element that I found with Dynamos Cricket last year is it was great for a number of children who have maybe done All-Stars and their next realistic option coming out of it was hardball under 11s cricket. And with the best will in the world, some children, they were not capable of playing 11 under 8-a-side pairs hardball cricket. And what I've seen over the years and from speaking to other clubs is if a child has a bad experience of hardball cricket when they're very small and they get hit or they don't feel confident, that's potentially their cricket journey over, that they say goodbye to cricket at that point. So this is a great way of keeping those children engaged with the game, giving them slightly longer to understand what cricket's about and giving more game-based skills. So the format, so whereas All-Stars is very skills-based, Dynamos is about actually starting to get playing more games and trying to give you the opportunity to put game-based skills in. So every session has a fielding warm-up. The curriculum is of the fielding is designed by Create Development, one of the leading children's specialists in movement and physical education. So a great partner to have. Then there are skill-based activities to improve batting, bowling and fielding. And then the game is a countdown game. So there is a game every week of varying different levels to build up to playing what is ultimately countdown cricket, a pairs game. There's an app linked to Dynamos Cricket and every child can download that. And it's got various different skills games which you can do at home and different content which you can link to players linked into the 100. As part of with the app, every week, every child who takes part in Dynamos gets cricket tops attacks cards. They prove very popular at my club anyway. And with the app, children can scan the card and they find out more information about the players, etc. So trying to link people to international and players within the professional game. Countdown cricket as a game is played each week and there is a scoring app. I find it really useful myself, free to download, and and you can score the games on it. It's really good, which you can see in one of the pictures. It's got how many players per team, how many balls, and it gives you approximation on time. So there was a couple of sessions when I first started, when I delivered this myself, I'd overran on some of the drills and I thought, how am I going to fit this in? I quickly penned stuff in the app and it was like, oh, this game will now take this long. And I was like, oh, brilliant. I can, if I move it that way, I can still get a game in and it won't overrun the session too much. But you can get, I trialed it with getting the children to try and do it. So if they weren't batting, actually found that some of them actually enjoyed pressing the button and putting the scores on because it was digital. So it might be a useful way of just starting to introduce people to how to score. But that app is available with Dynamos. So this is all the kit that you would get if you were a brand new club. What we've been told for clubs who are returning to do it for this year, it won't be a £5 kickback. It will be once you get to a certain threshold of children, you will be given an amount to spend as a top-up kit within the shop. Because there are less numbers doing Dynamos compared to All Stars, because obviously there's under 11 hardball cricket, kids go into slightly different directions post at this point. The ECB feel that if it was done at £5 per child to spend in the shop, some clubs may not get the amount of money they deserve to top up kit. So that is what they will be doing for returners. And again, the shop will be open in March. What I've been told is there will be more options on kit from an activator point of view, because obviously it was a t-shirt, just a t-shirt, but I've been told that there's going to be more kit available for activators, which you can use your top-up vouchers for. Again, with slightly different model. So as a child for Dynamos, you get a tax card each week and you get a t-shirt. So you get less stuff. So that means more money comes back to clubs in Dynamos. So the RIP is £40. £15 goes back to the ECB and £25 go back to the club. What we found last year is a lot of clubs kept it at £40, but there were some clubs who reduced the cost, so did it at a slightly cheaper rate to try and based on their demographic. So one club said to us, where we are £40, we probably struggle to sell this to parents, so they reduced the cost and they said, look, we're happy with getting, I think they reduced it to 30 and said, well, £15 back is more than enough for us, but it meant that they were able to get more children on the course. But you've got the flexibility to change that yourself. Obviously, if you reduce the price, you won't incur any additional fees. But again, if you increase the price, you will get more on there'll be a slight fee on that. Before I take any questions and then almost pass on to Colette and Steve around two of the big focuses for the ECB, is one of the things that I've spoken to a number of clubs is where Dynamos fits, because they've traditionally run under 11s hardball, or they've offered some softball cricket. And I think for me, as I said earlier, it's a great opportunity to provide opportunities for those children who are not ready for hardball cricket, so we don't lose them from the game at 8 years old, 9 years old. So especially if there are a number of clubs who have used All Stars to get their junior cricket set up, but they haven't yet put in an under 11s or an under 13s or 15s. This is a really good option as another follow-on while a club builds up their infrastructure to be able to start leading with hardball cricket. With Dynamos, there is the option to run this in what they call a summer window. So some clubs said, well, actually, we just struggled to fit this in May and June. So there is the option to run this in July and August, so a second window. So you run it at a time when you're probably running less. Last year, we only had one club who ran anything in the second window. Our feedback was that clubs didn't think it was right for them, but it is an option. But I think one of the biggest things, which Colette will talk about, is that a number of clubs use Dynamos as a vehicle to get girls only cricket up and running, and with quite a lot of success. I won't steal Colette's thunder on that, but Nikki, are there any questions which have come through which I can
Yes.
hopefully answer.
I have answered it in the chat box, but it's certainly worth raising it. John Watts has said there was some confusion from parents because of the crossover of the age groups from finishing All Stars and going into Dynamos, and parents weren't necessarily sure which program their children should go into. And I've said that because both the programs are aimed at getting kids involved and making sure they enjoy it, it very much needs to be a judgment call between the parent and the club as to, you know, how experienced the child is, whether they're confident, and where they're going to get the most benefit.
Yeah, I'd certainly agree. It was something that quite a few people asked me as well, John. And I think if a child has maybe done All Stars at 5, 6, and 7 years of age, and they're now 8, is a 4th year of All Stars going to be the right thing for them, or actually pushing them up into a new program which will take them on? I think that is something you can discuss with the parents. I think if children are doing All Stars for 4 years, is that good for them moving forward? It maybe not. So actually, your 8-year-olds, I know a number of clubs. I think Ilton, who are on the call tonight, they made the decision that they did All Stars up to age 7, and then they moved all their 8-year-olds straight into Dynamos. I think Damien and Bob might agree with that. If they write in the chat box, that'd be great to confirm. But that some clubs did just tweak the age groups themselves and were very clear on saying, look, we will stop All Stars at 7, and then we'll do everything Dynamos at 8 up, just to make that easier. But again, it is a judgment call because not every 8-year-old will be competent to move up. So it's just having those conversations locally and knowing the child as well, so to make sure that they have the best experience. I'm now going to hand over to Colette, who is
she's having technical problems. She's just had to log out, and she will be back in a minute. So
no, that's
keep
all
going.
right. No, that's fine. So I will talk about some of the new elements. So myself, as Colette, it looks like she's rejoining. So two of the big elements which the ECB are really keen to develop through national programs is the opportunities for women and girls, but also trying to ensure that All Stars and Dynamos programs are as inclusive as they can be at cricket clubs, so catering for various different child's needs. So firstly, I'll pass over to Colette, providing technical problems are to talk about the opportunities linked to women and girls through All Stars and Dynamos. And then Colette will pass on to Steve Gass, who many of you will know. He's our community manager and is doing an awful lot of fantastic work for us as a foundation to help clubs become more inclusive. So we're really lucky to have Steve's knowledge and expertise in that field to talk about some opportunities. Then they'll hand back to me and I will run through some of the key changes for this year on some of the systems and what clubs need to do next for any further conversations and signing up for this year. So Colette, over to you if you're there.
Cool, thanks Matt. Sorry, I crashed for a little minute at the most awkward time as I was about to jump on. Nice to see you all, and for anyone that doesn't know me, I'm the Women and Girls Development Officer at Somerset Cricket Foundation. I know lots of you do lots of great things to engage girls within sort of the All Stars and Dynamos programs, but just sort of reiterating a few of those points. So for anyone that is offering All Stars, obviously we've got specific girls marketing as well to help girls get involved. We've got a really good spread of girls across the county taking part in All Stars, so that's really, really good to see. But just making sure that any females that are involved are included within the sessions and sort of engaging them as well in small groups, as well as in small groups of girls only potentially, as well as mixed sessions. We also will be doing a big drive over this summer to engage more female activators. We've already got lots of women on the ground supporting the delivery of All Stars and Dynamos, but it'll be great to see more female activators out there. So for a young girl coming into the club, obviously if they don't see a female role model, it's sometimes tricky to know what they could be getting involved in long term. Next slide, please, Matt. So one of the things that the ECB launched was the Girls Only Dynamos as part of the Dynamos programme. And last summer we had 9 clubs delivering Girls Only Dynamos. And that was great, with all clubs getting over 10 girls involved in the programme. Can you give me 2 seconds? I'm just going to shut my door because the dog's going crazy. Apologies. So that was really good to see, and we've had lots of success from those clubs that have delivered Girls Only Dynamos. This summer we're looking for more clubs to get involved and to host Girls Only Dynamos, and we have got different support packages in place to support any clubs that are keen to do that. So whether it's the potential of activator support, or there could be funding related issues, or you want to make that maybe a reduced cost to engage more girls, we are happy to offer any support necessary to make sure we have more Girls Only Dynamo sessions taking place. As Matt mentioned, one of the ECB key sort of strategy aims at the moment is to have more girls clubs, more cricket clubs offering girls only activity. So Dynamos is a great starting point from that. Next slide, please. So we've just got a little bit of a case study from one of the clubs that did Girls Only Dynamos this summer. So lots of clubs did it really well. But just picking up on a club that have then followed it through and engaged as a girls only team in a mixed tournament over this winter. And that success has come from the participation in Dynamos. So Taunton took part in Girls Only Dynamos this summer and had great success. They engaged a large group of girls, and from that have been participating in our indoor countdown cricket festivals. They've now also engaged and have entered our under 11s league for this summer, and they will also softball, and they've now also entered the under 11 league for hardball. So that's incredible success from a club that had a few girls engaged initially, and has now grown from strength to strength. And there's obviously a little quote there from Steve, who's managing that. So that's really exciting, and we're looking for more clubs that are similar to that to engage with, and hopefully moving forward. We've just launched a girls league as well in the county to hopefully have those teams entering the leagues in 2023, 2024, but also keen to support to any clubs that would be interested in doing Girls Only Dynamos. I think that's it from me.
Thanks, Colette. I'm now going to hand over to Steve Gass. Steve, are you here?
Cool. Hello. Thank you, Matt. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see those that are on camera, and hello to everyone. So for those that don't know me, my name's Steve. I'm the community officer for the foundation. So I've sort of asked if I could present a couple slides really on inclusion and inclusivity. So thanks for listening this evening, and hopefully taking away a couple important messages. So inclusivity, why is it important? It's hugely important. It's hugely important to me, and it's hugely important to the foundation. And I attended some training quite recently, and I was presented, we were shown some really quite shocking and eye-opening statistics really around disability. And I thought it would be nice to, well, not nice, but certainly informative to share those with you. That will hopefully highlight why inclusivity is really important. So disabled people are twice as likely to be inactive as those that are able-bodied. But about 4 in 5, about 81% of people with an impairment want to be more active. But across England, there's about 160,000 different community sports clubs, but only 9% of these clubs have any members with a disability. So on those two sides of the coin, on one side you've got 4 out of 5 people with an impairment who want to be more active, but on the other flip side, we've only got about 9% of community clubs that have got people or members with a disability. So where can these people with an impairment go out and be more active because there just isn't the things for them to do. And sort of shockingly and probably unsurprisingly, given what I've just said, about 7 out of 10 young people with an impairment or with a disability, which is about 72%, say that they actually feel really lonely because they're isolated with limited access to social activity. So that's just some eye-opening figures there. Matt, if you can just flick on the button for me. So last year, a number of clubs or a number of young people with an impairment actually attended a national programme like All Stars or Dynamos, which is amazing. So they managed to get active and they managed to make those connections. All those clubs listed on your screen, you might be one of those clubs here this evening, had a young person who had an impairment attend one of your All Stars or Dynamos programme. Now hopefully you would have been aware of those young people, and those young people that would have attended would have either had possibly a vision impairment, a hearing impairment, mobility issues, dexterity issues, learning impairment, memory impairments, or they may have classified their impairment as other on Club Spark, but this was taken directly from Club Spark. So all of these young people or young peoples had expressed that they had an impairment whilst on your programme. Now, like I said, hopefully all of you clubs were aware of those young people, but I just wanted to know, or I just wondered, didn't want to know at this particular stage, just wanted to know how many people or those clubs actually contacted the parent and carer just to see if there was anything that you could have done a little bit more to make your session fully inclusive and to make the session as best as it could have been. It might have been the case that nothing extra was required, or it might have been something as simple as saying, yeah, actually, if your coach could just say my son or daughter's name before talking to them, just so that they know that you're speaking to them and checking that they've understood. Or it might be, yeah, actually, if you could just tell my son or daughter that there's going to be lots of particular noise at this stage, lots of cheering or shouting because you're going to ask for everyone to cheer, and that might make them a little anxious. That might help them make their experience even better at your programme. So the point here is that as a foundation, we want to support your cricket club to become much more inclusive, and we want you to adopt good practices to ensure that everyone not only gets to come to the party, which is All Stars or Dynamos, but they also get the chance to dance, which means they actually get the chance to participate. So we want young people to come to your party, but we want them to dance as best as they can. So hopefully that analogy makes sense. On to the next slide, please, Matt. Thank you. So we know that there are young people with a range of abilities attending national programmes because we've just seen it. We know that there are young people attending your programmes with a hidden impairment, again, because we've just seen it. As a cricket foundation, we want to support you and your volunteers to become disability confident. Confidence is the key, because we know that sometimes facing young people or coming across people with disability can be a little bit daunting, and we want to raise that confidence. And as a foundation, we want to support your club to promote or to run opportunities. As a foundation, we want to support young people and adults so they have the opportunity to take part in activities and don't feel so isolated. However, I'm really conscious, and we're really conscious, that you and all your other volunteers at your club are already super busy. Therefore, to support your club in becoming an inclusive club, we've tried to devise 3 levels where we ask you to pledge your support, and I hope that there's a level for everyone, regardless of how busy or stretched you might be. I'm hoping there'll be a level for everyone. At the most basic level, we're hoping that you can pledge your support as a supporter club. This requires very little for you to do, with the exception of sharing information on disability cricket opportunities that we offer as a foundation across the county. We will send you the information, and all that you have to do is share it. And hopefully by sharing it, we can reach people and families that we can't reach by sending it out ourselves. And by using you to share that information, hopefully, you can reach someone, and it might actually make a massive difference in their life, given the figures that I shared with you at the start in terms of young people feeling isolated and lonely. So yeah, that's the first level. The most basic level is sharing information. Level 2, which is the inclusive club. I'll be honest, this requires a little bit more. we would want your club to pledge your support to attend a webinar that explores disability, and then a face-to-face practical session. And we'll have the opportunity at that session to put into practice what we discuss on the webinar. And the focus of that training would be to support you, your club and you as volunteers, to get everyone to dance at the party, if you can remember that analogy. We also are currently running a series of webinars at the moment, which you can view, because some have already taken part, and we've got some that are coming up at the moment. And all of those webinars are specific on different impairments. And thirdly, level 3, the sort of gold standard pledge, would be that you'd have to do levels 1 and 2, but you'd also look to run your own disability cricket session over the summer. And for clubs that want to be part of this new initiative and weren't part of it last year, there's a small seed funding pot, it's easy for me to say, about £500 that you can use to spend and develop that. So just to finish up, it'd be fantastic if every club on here this evening wanted to pledge their support. And remember, the most basic level is a supporter club, and that's simply sharing information. I'll put the link in the chat box, so if you want to pledge your support to any of those 3 levels, all you need to do is fill in a very simple expression of interest form, and Matt will send it round as well with this presentation. So the most basic level is a supporter club, and hopefully everyone will feel confident to sign up to that. It'd be great if everyone wanted to be an inclusive or champion club, but at the most basic level would be fantastic. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for taking the time out to provide that really interesting element on inclusivity. And when you told me beforehand some of the stats, it is quite powerful. I think another thing that Steve will undersell on himself is he is running a number of CPD opportunities currently, and there will be information on those at the end, a webinar series on different disabilities that people have, and how you can support as a coach or an activator to ultimately help them have the best experience. The feedback from colleagues of mine and some people in the club network on the 2 which were done pre-Christmas was how good they were, and they've taken away a lot of things that they can change in their coaching just to make things a little bit more inclusive. So for any activator, it would be really good just to dip into them. They're only an hour long, but they are absolutely fantastic, and will give coaches and activators a lot of information on how they can just tailor some of their coaching practices just to become slightly more inclusive. Nick, is there any questions before I start sort of going on?
No, Steve Hubbard has offered to speak to any clubs about how they've evolved from Dynamos into girls only hardball. Otherwise, there's a lot of love for Gassy in the box, but no other questions at the moment.
Thanks, Nick. So for those who have done national programs before, they will be very aware that there is a management system where you set up all your programs and all the bookings are done through, called Club Spark. On Club Spark, last year they added the functionality so you could set up girls only sessions. New for 2022, and in my opinion a long time overdue, as I'm sure a number of clubs will agree, there is now an ability to set a limit on program numbers. So in the past, if you knew that you had a limit on capacity, you had to keep a really, really keen eye on how many people were booking, and then hide your program. So what would happen now is you can set a limit, and when your session is fully booked, rather than you disappearing from the website and people wondering, well, what's happened to X cricket club? Why are they not on here? it will appear on there to show that your cricket club is fully booked on numbers. You will be able to change that at any point on your numbers. I think the biggest element on this for me is clubs having a clear understanding of the numbers that they've taken previously, and working out if they are going to put a capacity on it that it's based on what they have previously taken, on stuff like that. And if anyone wants to chat about their numbers on what they think is reasonable and what they can cope with, you can pick that up directly with me. But that is a new function which I think is very much long overdue. Also on Club Spark, there is now a self-help button. So if you are getting stuck with any element when you're trying to upload various different elements, you can click on the self-help button and it should give you articles to be able to troubleshoot. There are help desks. So if you do have any issues, you can use them if you struggle with the self-help. Both myself and Nick are well versed on Club Spark and know quite a lot about the system and some of the pitfalls it has. So we are both also available to help fix problems, because there are some things we can fix at our end, because sometimes things are not necessarily always in the right or in the logical place, shall I say. But that is all there. So all the bookings are done through this, etc. And on the picture, this is just an example of what it looks like for when a parent was searching and could book accordingly. So marketing. So as Colette said in her piece, there is girls specific marketing resources, but the resource hub, the ECB resource hub, which has a lot of resources for the club game on, that again will be updated with some fresh marketing resources. As Colette said, there'll be a lot more diversity and a lot more girls focus, especially for those who are running girls only. And again, there will be a marketing guide to help clubs maximize their opportunity to promote their sessions. The ECB do a lot of digital marketing themselves. I can sort of vouch for that. From about March till July, because I spend a lot of time dealing with national programs, every single pop-up advert on any website that I go to ends up having All Stars and Dynamos on it, just because it follows me around. So the ECB put a lot of marketing support in it from there. There is a marketing campaign. So as soon as the Easter holidays hit, there will be an awful lot of increased marketing around peak times when parents are searching for activities for their children. This year, it will become clearer in a minute, but there are almost going to be two bites of the cherry with both the February half term and the Easter holidays. There's 2 windows to push that. As a foundation, Scott Chappell, our schools and coaching manager, he will promote by sending out to every school in the county information on All Stars and Dynamos and the clubs which are running them. We will also be doing schools delivery. This will be done on various factors of schools enabling us to come in. Not all schools do allow us in or will engage with us. So we do our best to deliver in schools, and there will be lots of delivery going on, but it's not always easy to always get into every school. However, if we are going into a school which would feed your club, our community coach team will contact you pre their visit in there. So there is the opportunity to potentially go in as a club. So there is a face to a name as well. And also once they have been, they will link you up again with the school. That is on school delivery. We do encourage clubs themselves to make contact with schools about promotion. Sometimes that personal link up can really aid transition. So for both All Stars and Dynamos, you don't need to be a qualified coach to run the program. You need to be an activator. So an activator is the person who leads the session. It's an important role. An activator can be in charge of a group of 24. So if you've got 48 children, you need 2 activators, and in multiples of 24 to be fully qualified. There are other ratios below that, so you should have a DBS adult for every 8 children that you have. New activators. So if you're a brand new activator, and I know there's been lots of clubs already been contacting me saying, when's activator training going to be? We haven't got the dates yet. We are trying to build them in. We are just waiting for some additional information on how it's going to run this year. So we are told to the default position is as it was last year with COVID mitigations. So if it's in that model, there is an online induction course, which is an hour going through what national programs is, working in some different breakout rooms before coming and attending an outdoor face-to-face training course, which is 2 hours. And there is also an element of e-learning and SYC, which is safeguarding young cricketers. The safeguarding young cricketers element is changed for this year. So it will be a standalone course, which is linked to the main ECB safeguarding young cricketers, which is being revamped and will be relaunched pre-season. Anyone who has got, and so this is new for this year. So anyone who's done safeguarding e-learning in the last 3 years, and it's still in date, that will pull across this year. So if you're a qualified coach and have previously done SYC, we are told now that will be recognised, so you don't have to do the additional safeguarding training. If you are an existing activator, the requirement this year is there will be online refresher videos which you need to watch. Our understanding is you will be able to watch them through Club Spark, and that will update and tick off on the dashboard to show that your qualification is valid. However, one thing that we have been told by the ECB, and it's something that we will be contacting clubs in early February, because there's quite a big piece of work that we have to do, is there are a high number nationally of activators who have only done face-to-face training and the online induction, but never completed the e-learning or safeguarding element. So they currently wouldn't be classed as a fully qualified activator. So we will be trying to work out over the next few weeks, based on some information we've now got available, of which activators haven't got that element, so they can start rectifying that now. So they only have to do the online refresher videos rather than have to do everything again. So just watch this space on that some of you may get communication just say you need to do this is how you do it to remain in date. But that is where the activator training is. With activator training, you get the curriculum for both programs. Dynamos cricket, I understand, will remain the same. I understand that there's not going to be any new video, there's going to be no new games. With the All Stars curriculum, there is a slight refresh this year, so there will be some new activities for this coming summer. But obviously, when that all goes live, we will let people know accordingly. So to become an All Stars or Dynamo Centre as a club, you need a child welfare officer. you will need a qualified activator, a trained first aider, and appropriate insurance. Appropriate insurance is, can get you the details, but it is 5 million. It's 10 million pounds on public liability and 5 million employers liability, or the other way around. I can never remember which one it is, but if you have got the ECB standard policy through Howdens, that covers it. From there, as we also recommend that you make sure that you make your environment as welcoming as possible. You have access to male and female toilets, and you have accessible space, an adequate space in an accessible venue. However, for the next steps, you don't need not everything needs to be in place now to set up programs and get stuff ready for the summer. Key dates. So Club Spark is open now and has been open since just before Christmas for clubs to sign up. 2 weeks today, the ECB are running their National Club Roadshow. In their National Club Roadshow, they will be covering a number of topics, women and girls cricket and how clubs can get involved and how they can embed that within what they offer. There will be a section on national programs. So the answers that we don't know, I imagine, will be covered at that event. They will also be talking about the importance of safeguarding within cricket clubs and what clubs should have in place. And they will also talk about funding opportunities for the game as well. The link to sign up for that is at the end of this, and we will promote it. So that is another opportunity to hear directly from the ECB. So we would encourage many people to go on that. What is quite important, so this is almost this is going to happen 2 weeks earlier than it has done before. So for any person who has done national programs in the past, they will get a priority window to sign up for this summer on the 10th of February. So it's really important that your club, especially if you've done it over the last few years, has got everything, has got their program set up and they're ready to take bookings. So you don't get to the 10th of February and they get an email from the ECB and people are going, well, where's the club that I've done it before? I can't book there, and they book somewhere else. The full consumer launch will happen a week later on the 17th of February. New activated training dates will happen across March and April. They are currently just being sorted, as I said. Program, the first date that sessions can start is the 6th of May. And so you'll find it, you won't be able to book any sessions in on the system before then. And then there is the second program window. So especially for Dynamos, if you think we want to do it later in the summer, that is set up for July. So that is the key dates we know now. Before I go through the next steps, Nick, are there any questions coming through?
Yeah, Sean has just asked, do level 1 or above coaches need to do activator training too? The answer to that is yes.
Yeah. Yes, everyone needs to do the activator training on that. Any other questions?
Nope.
Excellent. So so the next steps, some clubs have already started doing this, which is great. So if you're a brand new club, you've never run national programs before, but you are going to run them this year. If you are 100% sold that you're going to do it, I know there's a few clubs who are from club meetings that we've had over recent months. You can register now using that link. These slides will be circulated tomorrow. So you can click on that link and set up an account and follow the wizard to set up your programs. Alternatively, if you've got any more questions as a new club and want more details, or have got any more questions, please email me directly and my email is there. If you're an existing club, the portal is now open. As I said, you visit the portal, log in with your previous login. At the moment, there are 2 stages. One, on the dashboard, tick the registration to show that you are doing National Pro, you agree to the terms of doing it, and then upload your programs, get them uploaded, and then it's done. The ECB are making changes to the dashboard, so uploading evidence of first aid, safeguarding, etc. But there's going to be a couple of changes to that, which I can't really talk about at the moment in case it doesn't work. So hopefully there'll be less onerous stuff to upload if something works, but hopefully they will be allowed to announce that on the 25th of January. So those are the next steps, and over the coming weeks we will start publicizing on our website who set stuff up, so that hopefully will act as a reminder to make sure that you're getting everything done. I'm now going to pass over to Colette, then Nikki, because Colette is going to talk about a new opportunity which we're rolling out this summer to help player transition and cricketing opportunities for graduates of both All Stars and Dynamos to play more cricket.
There's a couple of questions just there, Matt. Do you want to answer them before I go on?
Yeah, one, Casper Cooper's just raised really to let other people know that if parents haven't opted in to keep up to date with ECB emails, they won't receive the priority window email. So it was just that to let clubs be aware that that may be an issue and they might need to contact parents themselves to let them know that the priority window is now opened. And Steve Jacobs has asked, what level does a first aider need to be trained to?
A first aider, ECB are fairly flexible, unlike a lot of other sports, providing it is a minimum, it's a 3-hour course of emergency, and it's got basic emergency first aid that qualifies you as a first aider. If you've got a certificate and you want us to check it, just email it to myself or Nikki and we can go, yeah, that's applicable for national programs. But basically it is needs to be 3 hours, should be on the course time. And thanks for Casper for raising that point as well.
Cool. And then can you just start my video, please, Matt?
Somerset Cricket Foundation are launching a brand new competition for junior cricketers this summer, Countdown Cricket Festivals. These festivals have been designed for under-9s and under-11s who are graduates from All Stars and Dynamos or newer players to the game. We will be hosting festivals across the county, but are also looking for clubs to host. We are very excited about the new format and are looking for clubs to express an interest in taking part in festivals and also becoming a host club. If you have any questions, please get in contact.
Awesome, thanks, Matt. So just a quick one on Countdown Cricket Festivals. We've run a few of these festivals over the winter with really great success. It's been really exciting to see lots of juniors that have been graduates of Dynamos or All Stars then re-engage and play for their team over the winter in an indoor setting. So moving into this summer, we're really excited to be launching Countdown Cricket Festivals on a much bigger scale. As a foundation, we will be working with several clubs to host some really big festivals, and we'll be on site and offering a lot of support for those, but we're also looking to ensure that we have a real county spread of festivals. So looking for any clubs that might be interested in hosting a festival to get in contact and express an interest in that. We also are really keen for clubs to start expressing an interest in taking part. We know that the summer will still soon be around the corner, so just want as many people's information as possible to get that ball rolling. One of the reasons we've created the festivals, as Matt sort of alluded to, was to help try and bridge that gap between softball cricket in All Stars and Dynamos and junior league cricket. So our aim is to hopefully build a bigger foundation for then junior leagues moving on. So they'll have a summer of playing as part of a softball team, and that could give them the confidence to then go and play hardball cricket the next season, or potentially they start off in a softball format being a little bit more competitive and then are happy to play hardball. So it's a really exciting opportunity for us as an organisation, and something that's new, but hopefully we're going to engage with clubs across the county to both get involved and be a host venue.
Somerset Cricket.
Cool. And if anyone's got any questions about Countdown Cricket Festivals or would like to get involved, please do give me a call or drop me an email.
Thanks, Colette. Just to finish off, we've mentioned these webinars several times already tonight, but just to draw your attention to the ones that will probably be some benefit to people on this call, and that's certainly those who are thinking about starting a women and girls section or thinking about Dynamos girls only. That also links into participation experience, as there's so much time competition for people's time now. It's useful to know what you might be able to do to encourage people to join your club rather than go somewhere else. And we've linked this specifically into women and girls focus, not necessarily just cricketers, but female volunteers as well. And obviously, as one of our big growth areas, this is one of the webinars that we're really keen to see clubs get involved in. And the other one that would probably be useful, especially to the new clubs coming onto national programmes this year, and clubs that may want to try and increase their numbers, is the developing a marketing strategy. We'll put a link in on the webinar to all these. If you want any more details, get in touch with us. But they've some really good opportunities to increase skills within the club and to help you develop and push forward. So we highly recommend booking a place on these webinars.
Thanks, Nick. Tomorrow I will share all the slides, so you'll get all the direct booking links for all of these throughout. So if you're interested to book on any, we encourage that you book on them quickly. Final thing for me is just a reminder of the next steps. So what new clubs need to do in terms of registering or contacting myself. Existing clubs making sure that they get themselves set up and do the key elements. Ultimately, we've got the key dates is for the previous participation and then the main launch. Because ultimately, if you're not set up, you will not appear for people to book at the start. So that is probably the biggest takeaway from us, is to get your program set up ASAP. From that, obviously, as you get set up and we know you're running national programs, more information will come out, mainly from myself or directly from the ECB, ultimately about training. So as soon as we've got the dates confirmed and they are live to be booked, please get your new activators booked on, etc., so you're ready for the summer. And it is great that a number of you who are already on this call have been contacting us already, saying that you've got new people and you want to get them trained. So that's fantastic that we already know that there's good demand. If there are any questions, Nick, are there any more?
No more questions. But Colette, Steve and I have just shared some of the links. So if people want to have a quick look at those before we finish the call, that would be great. Yeah,
and again, we will, if you can take a look at them now, but we will also share them again tomorrow, so you've got them. But if there are no further questions or anything, thank you for taking time to listening and answering various questions. Hopefully now you've got more information around what national programs is, if you are brand new. If you've done it before, you know some of the changes. but we are here and we're happy to support you as much as we can to get ready for the summer, to have another great summer of national programs. And hopefully we will see you all very soon on one of the upcoming webinars. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you all soon.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers, thank you.
Thanks.